Welcome to Hidden Costs Channel. Today, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into the thrilling, terrifying, and often tragic world of gambling. From the flashing neon lights of Vegas to the dimly lit backrooms you've never even heard of, these stories are a wild ride. So sit back, pour yourself a stiff drink if you're old enough, or a glass of milk if you're not, and get ready for the top 10 gamblers who lost fortunes. Kicking off our list with a name you definitely know, especially if you like basketball, it's Charles Barkley, the round mound of rebound himself. Now, Charles was known for two things: dominating on the court and, well, let's say enjoying himself off the court. We're talking about a man who loved gambling as much as he loved a good post-game interview. Blackjack, poker, you name it, Charles was there, chips in hand, ready to roll the dice. Now, most of us, when we think about losing a bet, we're talking about maybe a 20, maybe a 50 if we're feeling reckless. Charles, not so much. This is a man who reportedly lost $10 million in a single weekend.
Gambling is a bad habit, but I'm a habit guy.
The worst part? This wasn't just a one-time thing for Charles. He's been open about his struggles with gambling, even admitting to losing as much as $30 million over the years. Next up, we're heading down under to Australia, the land of sunshine, shrimp on the Barbie, and apparently some seriously high-stakes gambling. Meet Harry Kakavas, a real estate tycoon who clearly had a taste for the finer things in life. And by finer things, I mean baccarat tables. Harry wasn't just playing for fun though. This guy was a high roller, wagering millions at a time in the glittering casinos of Melbourne and Las Vegas. We're talking about a man who reportedly dropped a cool $1.5 billion in a single year.
The casino lured me back with lavish gifts and perks, knowing I couldn't resist the allure of the game.
Harry actually sued one of the casinos he frequented, claiming they'd taken advantage of his gambling addiction. He argued that the casino lured him back with lavish gifts and perks, knowing he couldn't resist the allure of the game. Sadly, Harry's story doesn't have a happy ending. He passed away in 2013 at the age of 52. Hold on to your hats, folks, because our next story takes us back to the neon oasis of Las Vegas, where fortunes are won and lost with the spin of a roulette wheel. This time our protagonist is Terrence Watanabe, a man who inherited a fortune from his family's party supply business. You'd think someone who made their money selling party hats and noisemakers would know how to have a good time without losing their shirt, but alas, that wasn't the case for Terrence. This man was a fixture at the high-stakes tables of Caesar's Palace in the Rio, dropping millions like it was pocket change. Blackjack, roulette, you name it, Terrence played it, and usually he lost. A lot. We're talking about a man who managed to lose a staggering $127 million in a single year. It's a reminder that even with all the money in the world, sometimes you just can't beat the house. Chapter 4, Maureen O'Connor, From Mayor's Office to Gambling Den. Our next story takes us from the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas to the sunny streets of San Diego, California. Now, you might think a politician would be too busy, governing to get caught up in the world of high-stakes gambling, but you'd be wrong.
Meet Maureen O'Connor, the former mayor of San Diego, who proved that even elected officials can fall prey to the allure of the game.
Now, Maureen wasn't hitting up the blackjack tables or trying her luck at roulette. Her vice of choice was a little more low-key, a little more senior citizen friendly. That's right, folks, we're talking about video poker. Over the course of a decade, she managed to gamble away a staggering $13 million, wiping out her savings, her retirement fund, and even dipping into her late husband's charitable foundation. Chapter 5. Harry Finley, the highs and lows of a professional gambler. Our next tale takes us across the pond to the UK, where we meet Harry Finley, a man who made a living out of gambling, and I'm not talking about counting cards or playing poker in smoky backrooms. Harry was a professional gambler, a high roller who specialized in horse racing.
Now, Harry had a knack for picking winners. He was known for his gutsy bets and his ability to read a race like a seasoned jockey. But as any gambler will tell you, luck can be a fickle mistress. And for Harry, the house always wins in the end.
Despite his successes, Harry's gambling addiction eventually caught up with him. At his lowest point, Harry lost a heart-stopping £2.5 million in a single day. Chapter 6. Kerry Packer, the billionaire who played like a daredevil. Hold on to your wallets, folks, because our next story features a man who knew how to gamble with the best of them. Meet Kerry Packer, an Australian media tycoon who lived life on his own terms, and that included his gambling habits. Carey was a billionaire many times over, and he treated money like, well, monopoly money. He was a regular at casinos around the world, from the bright lights of Vegas to the swanky gaming floors of London and Monte Carlo, and he didn't mess around with small potatoes bets. We're talking about a man who thought nothing of wagering millions on a single hand of blackjack or baccarat. One legendary story tells of Carey winning $20 million at a Las Vegas casino, only to turn around and tip the staff a cool $1 million. But even billionaires can lose big, and Carey was no exception. Chapter 7. Get ready for a wild ride, folks, because our next story is the stuff of gambling legend. This is the tale of Archie Karras, a Greek-American gambler who achieved the impossible, turning $50 into $40 million. You heard me right, $40 million. It's the kind of story Hollywood dreams are made of. Archie's incredible winning streak, known as The Run, took place in the early 1990s in Las Vegas. He played everything from poker to craps to baccarat, and he couldn't lose. He was like a man possessed, riding a wave of luck that seemed to defy all odds. But as with all things in life, what goes up must come down. In a matter of weeks, he lost it all. Chapter 8. David Einhorn, When Hedge Funds and High-Stakes Poker Collide. Our next story takes us from the casino floor to the world of high finance. Meet David Einhorn, a hedge fund manager who clearly knew how to play the stock market. But did his skills translate to the high-stakes world of online poker? Well, let's just say it was a learning experience. David was no stranger to risk. He'd made a fortune betting on stocks and bonds, so why not try his luck at the virtual poker table? In 2006, he entered the World Series of Poker, a prestigious tournament that attracts the best poker players from around the globe. David ended up losing $4 million in the tournament. Chapter 9. Akio Kashiwagi, the warrior who gambled with his life. Hold on to your seats, folks, because our next story takes us to the dark side of gambling, where fortunes are won and lost, and sometimes lives are at stake. This is the tale of Akio Kashiwagi, a Japanese real estate mogul known as the Warrior for his fearless gambling style.
Akio was a legend in the casinos of Atlantic City. He was known for his massive bets, his icy demeanor, and his uncanny ability to make casino bosses sweat. We're talking about a man who thought nothing of wagering millions of dollars on a single hand of baccarat.
In fact, he was so rich that he often negotiated his own terms with casinos, setting betting limits that were unheard of at the time. In 1992, he was found murdered in his home in Japan. Chapter 10. Terry Watanabe, the $204 million losing streak. And finally, we've reached the top of our list, the gambler who lost more money than anyone else on this list. Meet Terry Watanabe, the former CEO of Oriental Trading Company, a man who knew how to throw a party but apparently didn't know when to walk away from a casino table. Terry's story takes place in the neon-drenched playground of Las Vegas, where he became a regular at Caesar's Palace, spending millions upon millions of dollars like it was going out of style. Blackjack, slots, you name it, Terry played it, and usually, he lost. A lot. We're talking about a man who managed to lose an astronomical $204 million in a single year. Terry's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked gambling addiction. Outrow the high cost of gambling. And there you have it, folks, our countdown of the top 10 gamblers who lost fortunes. These stories are a wild ride through the world of high-stakes gambling, where fortunes are won and lost on the turn of a card or the roll of a dice. But these stories are more than just entertainment. They're cautionary tales about the seductive nature of risk, the allure of easy money, and the devastating consequences of gambling addiction. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more thrilling content. Thanks for watching.